Hey guys, it's your girl Tiffany Matthews with Real Estate Solutions, and today I am back talking to the buyers. Yes. So, I know it's been very competitive for the buyers for the last 2 years with COVID and the surge of buyers that were on the market and the low inventory that we had to choose from. So, the market is now starting to shift. Because the interest rates have risen, that has slowed the market down tremendously. We are really starting to see that shift. So sellers are no longer selling those houses within a week. It's taking 30 or more days in some cases. So that is really good for the buyer. The other advantage that the buyer has right now is the interest rates are high. So it's a plus and it's a con, okay, right? The plus about it is that it's going to eliminate a lot of people who can't afford to buy at a higher interest rate. So for those people who can afford to buy at that higher interest rate, you're in a market now where there are fewer buyers to compete with. So that's a plus for you. Okay, so I do have a solution to the higher interest rate for you buyers. What you can do is, once you have put in an offer, you can negotiate with that seller to ask them to assist with what's called a interest rate buy down. What the interest rate buy down does is basically the seller is paying towards that buy down for your interest, and usually it's for the first year or the second year, or the both. But essentially what it does is it lowers your initial interest rate that first year. And let's just say your interest rate is running around 7, it can bring you down to around a 4 or 5, which is going to make that payment a lot less stressful for you, right? I mean, who wouldn't want that? So that's essentially what it does. And depending on what you work out with your lender, it may be for 1 year that interest rate is lower, and then on the second year it goes back to, the 7, or it could be for a 2-year period. It just depends on what is negotiated with the lender and how much you have spent towards that buy down. So the plan with that is get in, do the buy down, start with that lower interest rate, and then in a year or two, when that negotiation falls off, you can refinance, and hopefully by that time the interest rates have come back down even more. So that's kind of the game plan, and that's how you want to look at it when going into this. But it's really good for buyers, and like I said, sellers are willing to work with buyers now because they are feeling the heat. They've purchased homes that they're flipping, and of course, if you're a flipper or an investor, your goal is to flip that house in 3 to 4 months tops, and turn that over to a rate of return for yourself. So the longer that they're holding on to it, they're having to pay that mortgage. So again, sellers are willing to work with you now because of that. So the other thing that we have in our favor as a buyer right now is, because there are fewer buyers out there and less competition, we have a little bit more negotiating power regarding making sure that we get a full inspection and asking that those repairs or things that we find within the inspection are taken care of by the seller. And typically, they're going to take care of it, again, because they want to sell that property and they want to sell it as quickly as possible. Another reason that it's really good for buyers right now is, again, for the same reason. The market is just shifting. So you can even now get your seller to pay for a home warranty on the house. Some sellers are really motivated and they're offering to take care of big ticket items, like maybe replace the roof in a year or include that in an escrow. so that you can take care of the roof. Because sometimes, you're purchasing a house, the roof may be 10 to 15 years old. It's going to require maintenance, or some type of update within the next 3 to 5 years. So sellers are open to that. They're open to ways of being creative to get the buyer to purchase their home, because they know that the interest rates are extremely high, but they want to sell their home and they want to sell it, like I said, as quickly as possible. So these are just a couple of things that should excite you if you are a buyer, and make you feel a little bit more inspired about the process, and not thinking, oh my gosh, am I ever going to be able to buy a house? These interest rates are going up, I can't afford it. There's so much competition. All the things that we were dealing with all those things that we were experiencing the last 2 to 3 years are now shifting for the buyer's benefit. That is something to sing about, right? So if you have any questions, buyers, definitely reach out. In the meantime, sellers, I have a video coming for you that can give you some helpful tips and tricks so that you can get your house sold quickly as possible. Until then,